So, for example, I'm not very good at captaining my team because I am usually just so engrossed in what I'm doing that it's hard for me to also instruct other people. So it definitely can help pushing, and usually that's why it's better for supports to do, because they don't have as many little things that they're doing. Like, they're not thinking like, oh, I'm hitting creeps here, and I have to last it now. It's more like they're moving places from place to place and thinking, okay, this is what we're doing next, and they can think about the map more.
Right.
So, yeah, pushing helps, but it can be iffy.
That was a really good final pick with the Timbersaw. This is one of those Timbersaw games that just feels, it's understandable why they snap picked it. Fantastic into the DK matchup, decent against Terrorblade, great against Sven. This is going to be a free game for Timbersaw.
But this looks like a fairly even draft, or is that Timbersaw pick?
I like the Timbersaw. It's a really good Timbersaw game.
It's like a good early mid-game hero. It can be a good late-game too, especially against the heroes it's up against. The hardest thing that they have going for them is that it's going to take a little bit of time for Timber to get items, but not that long.
Yeah.
And then Lifestealer, it's going to take a little time for him to get items. But neither draft looks greedy at all. Like, they could still buy Midases all over the place if they want to on both teams. But neither draft looks super greedy.
All right.
It's a close
Who do you like for this game?
The Timber looks pretty fun. But which team was on the left? I genuinely don't remember.
That was TFT.
I think I like the Final Tribes draft a little bit better, but it's pretty close.
All right, Final Tribe.
Timbersaw pick. Radiance is going to be big on Lifestealer here in the Terrorblade matchup. Night Stalker, as I said, I want to see more of this hero. We're seeing it. I got to go Pavaga.
All right. I'm going to go with the Final Tribe. I do like just overall, I like what they're doing. I think it's very consistent, and they're going to play a long game and choke them out. So let's see if they can. Oh, a wild Kyle has appeared.
Hello, thank you very much, Rob. Well, let's see what happens indeed. Best of 3, the Final Tribe and Pavaga. And we're looking at the end of the draft. What are we thinking? That Timbersaw to end things up alongside sort of the Night Stalker, a lot of beef. Do you sort of favor that against the Terrorblade that we have seen earlier today be very strong by TFT?
I like it because I think that TB is an interesting hero in that, yeah, sure, he's like a strong counter to the Lifestealer, but especially because you're going Midas Radiance now, it's not nearly as bad as like the old school build.
Sure.
And because you have a Timber now that just shuts down both of the DK, like what's the counter to Timber actually in this game for TFT? How do you kill him? Like, I don't see it. And it's the perfect 10th pick here. And whenever you have a mid hero that can just, not just be uncountered, but also deal with the enemy team's win conditions, like you're always feeling good. And I think Lifestealer is just the most broken hero in this patch at the moment, so.
Well, let's see if, I mean, Pavaga picking it up first, they certainly feel the same.
I hung out with Resolution today, and we were just laughing about how dumb Midas is.
Yeah?
It's just like, he's like, yeah, I mean, I play, these TBs, like animated, like, I think, could I buy Midas? I'm not doing anything anyway, so you just go for it. It's just,
I mean, that's the thing, though. It's weird, though, because after all the nerfs originally, like pro players, they wouldn't touch it with a stick. They were miles away from the Midas. They're like, well, this item's now garbage. We never want to buy it.
Well, it was buff. Well, I think it's just the combination of nerfs to Battle Fury and buffs to Midas. Like, but Midas was buffed, I think, the last 4 patches. Something like that. Yeah, cooldown used to be like, I think 105 or 100 seconds. Now it's 90.
That wasn't recent, though. Was that recent? I thought they hadn't touched Midas in a long time.
Yeah. I think this last patch was a nice, like, slight tweak to it.
All right.
It's been gradual. So, because it's one of those items that's very difficult to balance.
Because, do you really want it to be bought frequently? Because it's, I don't know, it's one of those items that, because of the maths, it seems like in a lot of situations, it's very sort of clear-cut, I need to buy a Midas, or I do not need to buy a Midas.
Yeah. I think nowadays people have learned the importance of picking up those items that allow you to accelerate gradually while not limiting your ability to like take engagements or play around the map. And yeah, games end faster, but Midas, you just sort of ensure that you will have a place no matter how late the game goes. And that sort of security is really important when, especially these tier 2 teams, it's tough for them to close out games perfectly. Like we really saw in those 2v01s earlier, but still, that's the exception, not the rule, I think.
Well, let's see how these lanes do go. Chessie on the DK is going to have to deal with the Pikachu Timber mid. As on the side lanes, Valentine must farming top with the backup of J4 against this Sven Nature's Prophet lane. Down bottom, Frost as the backup of Era, as he'll be farming up against Cheshire Cat's offlane Night Stalker.
Yeah, Pikachu's really the one to watch this game, I feel. And you just look at the Dire lineup, I think that they not only do they deal with the TFT lineup, but they also have the vision, thanks to the Night Stalker, the reach of the Earth Spirit, that I don't really see any holes in their draft to exploit. When it hits nighttime, what's the initiator on TFT? Is it going to be the DK, the Sven? Like, that's cool, but who do you actually even want to target? It's another one of those scenarios where all three of the enemy cores are so tanky. You don't have any easy way to take engagements, and you're always going to be at a vision disadvantage. They do get first blood, though. You take that.
Able to run down Palantimos there. Still just the level 1, so no points in the rage yet. And had no way to get himself out and away from the stun. But no, I mean, it's true. I'd be down the line as well. You've got to factor in that when this Lifestealer's fighting the mid, there's nothing to disable him through that magic immunity.
Hey, winning your lanes, though, that's always a good way to ensure that any draft disadvantage disappears.
And this Lifestealer on 2 CS at the moment.
Yeah, this is the benefit of the Prophet pick, though.
Yeah, the constant pressure.
Yeah, in theory, you think like, oh, how does Prophet counter Lifestealer? This is really it, because it's a low armor hero, and if you're able to pressure him with equal numbers, you just dumpster him. You just click the Lifestealer, and you can't lane effectively. Lifestealer does best against heroes, maybe like a Tide Hunt or Centaur that want to trade with him.
Yeah,
but
he can
just heals through them with Feast, and you have so much max HP that you just sustain yourself. But Furion, you can't clear creep spell. You're all just auto attacks, so there's no real way for you to deal with these trees. And Zibe, the new offlaner for TFT, haven't really seen him shine too bright, but I think that kid's got a lot of potential. One of the nicest Swedes. I mean, every Swede's pretty nice, but I've known Zibe for quite some time.
Well, this from the Hon days?
Yeah.
He's never been on the same team as you?
No, but he was, like, when we were playing in Stay Green, because he's like the generation below me, right? So he had far less time in the game.
Oh, he's super young.
Yeah. He's like, I think about as old as Mickey. It's that same era of Han players, like the third wave, so to speak. So they've got a lot of talent, but they're just still very new to the game. I think Zibe specifically has only been at it for like a year and a half tops. And I also had the advantage of, like, I came right in and had an organization to, like, support me, to, like, kind of build a team with.
Yeah.
Whereas it's very difficult just as, like, a random guy, because you learn a lot faster scrimming versus playing pubs. So I didn't have to, like, prove myself to start the whole team playing thing, whereas Zibe had to, climb to, like, what, top 15, top 20 in the rankings before you would finally get a fair shake.
That's these.
Nice glyph.
Yeah, saving a bit of, getting this tier 1 tower under pretty heavy pressure. Already Pikachu playing very aggressively onto Chessie. Chessie's having to pop Sows and try and do his best to keep up and farm, but as you can see, Timber with the lead in that lane, and the top lane continuing to be just a bit of a disaster for Pavaga. I mean, J4 Sows being cancelled, himself dying, and the Lifestealer just getting very little out of this top lane. It's a slow start for Pavaga.
I like that they did the Prophet support. I like Prophet core, but I'd say 2 out of every 3 games, he should be on that support role, just because of how powerful you are as that support. You can focus on harassing the enemy versus trying to CS, and often that limits your ability to... You're an anti-carry. That's how I feel like the hero should be treated. And this ensures that your Sven is going to be real fat in this game. And a big Sven here, you buy up all those armor items, maybe you can deal with the damage of Pavaga. I wouldn't be surprised to see Zibe go for like a Shadow Blade or something like that, because I want somebody to be able to get a Silver Edge against Timber, because otherwise he's near impossible to take down.
I imagine it'll be Chessie will get one on the DK, surely.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I forgot it was a Dragon Knight. Good point. I'll be curious to see what build he goes for. I've seen the double Bracer DK tends to veer towards the Radiance more often than not. I've seen Midas on DK. I'm not sure how I feel about that one, just because you love having that attack speed. It's just that DK kind of needs to get things done. We'll see.
I mean, looking at this lifesteal, it's going to be such a slow timing with the Midas into that Radiance at this pace because of how hard he is getting shut down. And the same can be said mid. Chessie is falling behind Pikachu in CS. You've got J4 here as well, as they're really looking to amp up the pressure onto him. Has got backup from Error, as they will try and get in underneath of the tower onto Chessie. Chessie just simply going to go for the TP out. Straight back to base, look for the refuel.
Might have been a kill had they not disrupted on top of the shock room. It's something we see a lot in this tournament where teams like VP, a lot of times it seems like they're casting spells with like perfect comms, but really they just have a feel for how both of their players are going to move.
top lane as well. Look at this, 6 minutes in, tower being taken. Cheshire Cat will TP in. They will try to go on to Zibe. Zibe has got the war cry. He's also got 8-1 charges, so we'll be able to pop him, go for a stun. He's actually just going to pop him, go for the TP. That's not going to work with J4 in the neighborhood. They weren't quite aware that he turned up into town. His Handscan will escape, but Zibe unlikely to be as fortunate as the poison kicks in.
Did they increase the cast range of Disruption?
I know, it looks pretty wild, doesn't it, sometimes?
Doesn't it feel like from way further away? I think it was.
Maybe the way it's scaled or something. I don't know. Yeah,
it probably is like level. It just no more scaling cast range because level 1 disruption used to be like near impossible to get off. You're running in with like no boots, and there's just no way you're getting that spell cast. Oh man, that's a cool game. I can't remember what I was gonna say. Oh, I like the Prophet for support for the reasons we just saw. Right. So we've seen a ton of games with this 3 Prophet. You clear out all the tier 1s, and then it's like, okay, now what? And you feed a couple times, and you're just a non-factor now, and you feed in all these engagements. 4 Prophet can do the exact same thing. He gives your draft the ability to take these early towers, but now your core can actually buy like real damage, and you can still go for the support items that the Prophet typically wants. It's just an easy way to acquire map control, but you don't. It's not all in. It's just nice.
And we'll see what sort of itemization Hanskin tries to go for. The team has got the urn queued up first.
Yep. It's a really good Spirit Vessel game.
Yeah.
You need one here.
Oh yeah, against that Timber. It's going to do a lot of work. J4 goes for the quick disruption and TP away. Will manage to make it back to safety and out of the hands of Zibe. He's going for that Mask of Madness.
Or Sven, actually, still seems like I don't like 1 Sven, but 3 Sven with just a couple points in cleave, you can see. It's huge.
I mean, the cleave percentage is really big.
Yeah.
It's really big, and it scales so well as well.
Yep.
And I think it was Zibe before who does this nice, cute little thing where he gets the Mask of Madness, Ring of Bassi, and then turns it into Vlad's and Echo Saber.
Yep. I like that a lot. I think that's the way to do it. You farm like 1 stack with Mask of Madness, and then immediately the Echo. Like Echo Sven, like I like Sven a lot as the 3 for the same reasons I used to like Tiny. Because they buy these really cheap items and they have drastic power spikes, but they slow down once you hit the mid game. But at a point, like Tiny's like Shadowblade Echo Saber, right? Then a Blink. It's such a cheap set of items, but you're so powerful.
Yeah.
Sven's the same once you have like Vlad's Echo Blink. Same thing. But then that next item is like BKB. Now what? Like an AC, a Daedalus? It's awkward to hit that timing because you're always looking to make moves once you've acquired that level of farm. Mid lane, of course, we have Pikachu. Just this is what happens when you're Timber versus DK. And the downside and why this is such an effective last pick is, what hero on TFT actually can stand to Pikachu?
Yeah, there's nothing that really can hold this Timbersaw back.
Yeah, and even though it looks suffer for Chessie, he's actually doing his job here because no one wants to be in this lane. So make yourself the sacrificial lamb. Play the 3 from the mid position. And just try and slow down the Timber's progression.
Down bottom, quite a deep dive here from Cheshire Cat. TPs will be coming in. Cheshire's there with the wraparound. Dragon Tail set up for Zibe to come in and help finish off the Night Stalker. Just diving a little too far there for Era. Could not quite kill him in time.
Is it still weird for you to see Era playing support?
I mean, it was a long time he was playing core.
Like, I remember.
But that was a while ago. That
like
was a long time ago.
Heroes of New Earth days. Like he was playing carry back in Dirty Minds. I still remember like the Mirana equivalent highlight videos. Like we're talking like 2012, 2011. And he's played core until I think earlier this year. Just boggles my mind.
I mean, what do you think? When you sort of see role changes like that, what's the main reason? Is it Era saying he feels like he can't play a good enough core anymore? Is it Era just saying he would rather play support? Like, why do you sort of see these drastic changes?
I think it's similar to like the decision I made when I swapped roles, which is just if I'm gonna captain, I should be playing 5. That's just how it goes, and it's the role that should captain. It's just how it goes. And obviously, off-laners will maybe disagree with you here and there, but at the end of the day, your 5 position has the most time to devote to his team because it takes the least amount of focus to play your own game. And in addition, you're the one placing the wards. So don't you want to place them in the ways that you're going to lead your team?
Yeah, and in the mid
control
lane,
the vision, and then
they kill the Timber.
Move your team to those wards. Yeah, that's a huge kill. I don't know how that went down, but that's massive.
Yeah, that looks like it was Zibe, alongside Chessie and Era. They had the 3 at the mid. And they had enough control, I guess, between sort of the route from the Oracle and the Dragon Tail stun. Enough time to burst through him. I mean, it's a lot of magical nuke damage with the Oracle.
Really just the Oracle. I don't think he had completed his hood yet, whereas if he had, I think for sure he survives. Alas. I'm curious to see what the Timbersaw's items are. I'm a big fan of Holy Locket, especially in a game like this. Midas finished, as you can see.
We don't see a lot of people pick that up. I think, yes, sometimes Timbers do. I think even Matuma Man, I want to say, in some of the games where he was playing Timber, he would pick up the Holy Locket quite a few times.
Yeah. I mean, it is a pretty poor item, but
yeah,
there's a place for everything in Dotes.
Zibe being dove upon down on the bottom lane. He's going to try his best to run away with the Warcry. There's a false promise as well from Error. Disruption being used by J4 to hold him in place for long enough to allow Pikachu to come in with the Chakram, as Zibe will get taken down.
Well, before he died, though.
He did. Got his Masker Man is finished. That's true. Space is there, of course, for Frost to keep on farming.
Yeah. See, he is going for the Holy Locket, but he just didn't get the Cloak. I think you want to prioritize that in a game like this. And in truth, though I do like the item on Timber, I think this might have been a better hood game, just because as soon as you have one, you're indestructible.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
that one death
all
could have been
magical,
prevented.
really. Yeah. It really is until that Life Stealer comes online, and even then, it's going to be the Radiance build.
Playing against the Timber in a game like this is similar in ways to like 10th pick Brood, where there's very specific timings with which you can limit him, and then at a certain point, you have to just start avoiding him. So killing him pre that magic resist item is this one window. As soon as he grabs that, all of a sudden you play keep away. And wherever Timber goes, you've got to try and avoid. And it's easier to do that with a hero like Prophet because you can more effectively mirror the map. It's still an uphill battle, though. I think you can see Timber Lifesteal already top of the net worths, and they're not gonna fall off either in this game. It's a tough ask for Oracle. Era's got to have perfect positioning here, because the one thing about the TB versus Timber matchup is sure you're hard countered, but you can always get that key Sunder off.
Yeah,
change the game.
And Tekcac, he has been found it. He's got the movement speed though, not enough. Again, Era with these purifying flames, just nuking him down. Won't quite be able to block off Lol's roll there, as he'll make it back under the safety behind the tier 1 tower. But with the meta up, Frost can look to put some pressure onto this tier 1 bottom.
What's a Gainomax?
I don't know. It must be some sort of like bodybuilding.
Yeah, right.
Like one of those powders or things, isn't it? Has to be. Like, it sounds very sporty. Gainomax. And I know TFT, they're all into the fitness stuff, aren't they? Would make sense. Tower takes a bit of damage. There's a Pikachu coming in, though, will be enough to stop TFT from continuing to push with the meta. A retreat for now.
Does Pikachu have the Pikachu face as his Steam avatar? Because if not, he's really missing a...
I don't think he does. I'm sure I would have noticed that.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, I don't think he does. I don't think he does. So, Chessie, going for the armlet.
I don't know if I like this. It's not bad by any means, but in a sense it's cool because since he's like this lower net worth DK, it's by far the most bang for your buck as a strength hero that you can get. And if you're not, if you go like Armlet into Shadowblade or Blink, it's pretty nice. Oh, whoa.
They found Frost. Frost, he's totally alone. Into the jungle they go with the invasion, and Frost is dead.
He pings out the ward. They know that they've placed that one. It's right underneath the sentry.
They've got the full Spirit Vessel on Hanskin now to help deal with that Timber.
I like this. At nighttime, just go for it. And you can see Cheshire Cat. He'll find Era here.
Looks like the rest of the team though can't quite get close enough to get on top of him.
That's the fear I have for TFT as this game continues. How do you do anything to stop the advantage Pavaga will hold every nighttime or darkness pop? Like, there's no real way to keep Era safe unless you're fighting around vision. And that's what's going to be key for TFT. How well does Era lead his team in picking those proper engagements? Because if you don't have vision down before an engagement, you will probably lose because they're going to be playing with clear vision and you're going to have next to none. And it's always very difficult and dangerous. And Night Stalker games can be difficult for like casual viewers to read properly simply because, it seems like the enemy team will play like way too scared or their movements are poor, but they just don't see a damn thing at night. It's spooky.
It is. The map's a very scary place at this time for TFT. Pikachu as well, just shoving in the wave up top.
Like, would you ever live like in a cabin in the woods? Would you do that?
I would.
You wouldn't, like, what about like all the noises?
It's nice and lonely.
Yeah, but
nice and peaceful. As long as it's got an internet connection. Actually, no, even without the internet connection, it would be nice.
What?
Dude, I mean, I'm the one that said to you, I was like, dude, do you want to go like camping in the Amazon rainforest and just like live in a tent for a month? It would be great fun. just see what happens, you know?
Yeah, get dysentery and spend 2 weeks.
No, just build your immune system. You'll come out a stronger human being.
I'll come out like 30 pounds lighter, sure.
Actually, the only thing that scares me about the Amazon rainforest are those fishes that swim in the river.
The piranhas?
No, the ones that do nasty things to the guys.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Why you don't
you know the ones that I mean.
Yeah, I do.
Don't pee in the rivers, boys.
Of all the things
That's
to fear,
the one thing.
It's not the
That's
spiders,
the one thing.
the snakes,
It's
the bugs.
It's the little fish.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Ooh.
At least you got your priorities in order. You know,
Yeah,
your
yeah.
mom would be proud.
I've
Protecting the
I've
jewels.
done my research, you know,
Mm-hmm.
on the Amazon rainforest.
All right. There's a company, I think it's called like Orion. They do these weird, they're like adventure cruises. So there's one that goes down the Amazon.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, Cassie, Francesca Cat here. That was, in fact, Pavaga, the two of them moving around. In fact, the three of them, is now they've got to try and get out. Chessie with the chase down. They should be able to get their hands onto LOL too, as Zibe's there with the wraparound. And TFT quick to catch two of Pavaga.
Yep.
After Pavaga were the ones roaming over to TFT's half of the map.
And that's going to be a mid-tower as well. And this is big for TFT. You need to get a couple more objectives. Only one tower in 17 minutes.
But they have got some great push.
Indeed.
There's DK, Terrorblade, even the Sven with the God Strength. That's a lot of sieging potential.
Because they're going to hit not a peak necessarily, but, you know, Lifestealer Radiance is more of an acceleration item. Sure, it helps you fight, but you look at the amount of sustain on the side of TFT, how tanky all their cores are, you're going to be stronger for at least the next 10 minutes, but you need to get more out of the map, because at a certain point, the Timbersaw Lifestealer will be the strongest heroes in game, and you're just going to get melted. Like, and again, you don't ever have the vision advantage, which has got to be concerning. You're in a good spot, don't get me wrong, but I think next meta, if you're TFT, you need to try and get an advantageous team fight into a Roshan. It's critical that that happens sometime very soon.
Shikat on the hunt. He's found Handscared up alone on the trees. We'll see if any sort of TP comes in. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Handscared pretty beefy, not beefy enough to survive the onslaught from these three heroes of Pavaga. Make that 4 now as Pikachu joins in for the tier 1 tower push. TFT just trying to find what they can at the same time across the map, getting that bottom and middle lane pushed out in return. Bottom tier 1 tower could be the target twos, as Frost is there ready to push on with Zibe. As they'll maybe try for the trade. Now looks like they're going to back off. Don't want to stick around too long for that tier 1 tower push bottom with the TP coming in from Timber. Yeah, Chessie just farming for the full tank, the armlet into the BKB. So it does mean he's not going to have any sort of Shadow Blade blink. Any sort of initiation tool on this Dragon Knight, at least for quite some time. So mainly on, really what the Sven to sort of run in and get the fight started.
I don't mind that, because there's another theory when playing Night Stalker where you just make yourself as strong as possible. You expect that, hey, look, we're going to get initiated on. There's not much we can really do to stop that. Yeah. So why even try to start the engagement?
Sure, just be prepared to turn it around.
Exactly. And that puts a lot of emphasis on Era's positioning. But if the team is aware, you form, you know, like a... You kind of like posting sentries at the entrance, right? Or like guards, rather. You keep your squishies in the center. It's like a bunch of Triceratops, right? And you keep the predators on the outside and the vulnerable babies on the inside.
Down bottom, Pikachu will come to show himself. They do have 4 heroes here, and of course, as mentioned, they have got the Spirit Vessel on Hansken. So they should have a pretty easy chance of killing Pikachu. A very, very easy kill for them there with that Spirit Vessel. I mean, even without it there, he was just getting ripped apart.
Yeah, I don't know if I like the build. Like, I get the Greaves. It's nice to have that cleanse effect, but I think Lotus Orb is just so key on Timber this game because it's cheaper. It gives you a bit of armor right away, and I don't know, I've just never really liked Greaves Timber. I think it's too expensive for a hero that wants to scale as, like, a strong core. Pick it up later if you want, but not second item. Oh, Zibe, an unfortunate TP.
He's found out here towards that rune at the top.
He finished Radiance, right? Yeah, he's farming really fast.
Yeah, this Lifestealer is on track to be a problem for TFT.
Oh, yeah.
And as you mentioned, sure, Lifestealer against Terrorblade as a hero ain't great, but because with this Radiance build, there's a lot of potential.
It was, you know, the fact that you can't Sunder through BKB.
That's
finally,
true as well,
by the way. I know it was, you know, it seems like we've been used to it for a while, but it was like a year and a half we were dealing with this. But it's not nearly as bad as it used to be, where you could just go in rage and just get sundered anyway. Now you at least have the ability to commit and try and kill this TB off. So, and again, the Radiance build. So I don't even know. I might take that back. Like, I'd say TB still has a matchup advantage, but I mean, Lifestealer's got the second highest win rate in 5K plus pubs. And in this tournament, I think he's got one of the highest win rates.
Oh, he's almost certainly, yeah.
Usually that's how it goes. You find like this super carry that's just better than everything else, and you just try and make it work regardless of what the enemy team picks. Like I remember you remember the troll sniper meta? Like trying to counter troll? It's like, hey, this is perfect. No, it's not. It's lost anyway.
Yeah, just that strong.
Dude, people used to first to troll and sniper. Like, can you imagine? Ugh.
What they did was that busted.
That was gross.
Yeah, no, I remember. And so was it the patch before when sort of Gyro was in every game? Gyro used to be insta pick core material every single match.
Yep. I think Gyro will come back. I think he's something that...
I mean, what does he need? What does he need to sort of come back in, do you think? What's the main problem? Is it...
I think that the new items that have gained prominence, like Midas as an example, just don't suit him. And a lot of times you'll notice that the best carries of the patch are really just the ones that can utilize the optimal build on their kit. Like, yeah, there's the item build that's just kind of the best. And right now that's like these cheaper, cost-efficient items. Midas, think of like OD, right? Kayayash is this insane item. Midas is this insane item. Wow, OD's probably good. You look at Gyro, doesn't want to buy Midas. Drums is still not great. Like, what does he buy that makes you feel good?
Yeah. No, it's definitely a bit of an awkward era.
And Radiance as well. I think Radiance is just super solid right now. And I'm predicting it might not be until the minor major times, but Bloodseeker, man.
Well, see, I mean, but what about Mr. Alchemist? Surely there's a place for him.
I think so too. But it's more of a
he got buffed, right?
He's one of those heroes that you've got to like be keeping in mind, like as the team that would pick him. Like you go in with the idea.
He's just totally been ignored. I haven't seen anybody play Alchemist. He's totally ignored.
The thing is, like, then one team will, and it'll be like, oh god, not like this again. Yeah. The mid player spams it for a day, and he's like, all right, guys, we can play Alch now. It's not as if it's difficult. The one hero I don't miss, and I'm surprised we don't see it ever, is Naga. Like there was like a 3-4 year period where it was just Naga every game. Like it had to be banned or picked.
Yeah. No, I think we saw in some of the qualifiers. I think some of the Southeast Asian and Chinese teams were still trying it. For instance, I remember seeing KP played some Naga in the qualifiers. But yeah, it didn't look crazy. It really didn't. I believe I remember him losing the games that they played Naga.
So this is a cool smoke timing. You've got night falling in 1 minute 20 seconds, but darkness is up. So you have like this 20-30 seconds to wait before you'll have night for 6 minutes. And it's a cool smoke because it's a bit faster than TFT could expect. You know, obviously at nighttime you'll know to be aware, but Pavaga making this move a bit earlier than scripted could work out in their favor, but it's the benefit of the Prophet. He's just shoving bottom. Yeah, sure, Hanskin might die, but he doesn't care. He understands what's up, and he's going to shove mid, maybe look to make a play. Oh, boy.
That's a big jump. Zibek straight in with the two-man stun. Pikachu getting bursted down low. There will be a defensive disruption, buying time for Pikachu to at least stay alive. We'll get the greaves off and we'll be able to timber chain away. And now the turn. Zibek's gone. So Zera as Pavaga just immediately collapsed back on top of TFT. Hanskin tries for the TP out, but Cheshire Cat will be able to cancel it. 3 dead on TFT. That's the Terrorblade gone, as well as TFT get absolutely shredded after an attempt themselves to kick the fight off. Great disruption from J4, keeping Pikachu alive. And what a team fight there from Pavaga, as they're now up onto the high ground, into the base. There's no buyback on these 3 heroes. They can't come back for this defense. At 24 minutes in, we'll see how much Pavaga can get from TFT here, but already they're going to be feeling incredibly good with that play.
Yep, TFT just a little overeager. See, they want to kill Lifestealer, but he's got Aegis. So instead they go on.
He's got Aegis, he's got Manta.
Yeah. The worst target possible. Like, you can't go for Timbersaw, but you think it's a double stun opportunity. You know, credit to Zibe, good initiation, but this has been a problem with the Final Tribe for some time, where they see opportunities, so they just take them. But I don't know if they really consider the implications. Like, is this the optimal strategy? Is this a fight we want to take at our tier 2? Wouldn't it be better perhaps to like just let this die? We're taking a tier 2 bottom. You know, you didn't lose anything off of the map, but they just. That was, like, I think, the biggest problem with Jonas, where he would see a kill possibility and always go for it, even if the best move would just be to, you know, just to wait. There's going to be a better opportunity if you just relax. And that's rough. Not too big of a gold swing, but still, it's the map control. You're going to be able to kill shrines. Roche is actually up. Wait, he didn't have Aegis. They never even did Roche. What am I saying? Why do they go? Why don't you go for Lifestealer then? I guess you can't. You just don't have enough stuns. But I figure that's got to be a better choice than Timber. However, again, J4, he's right there. He's going to get the disrupt off.
Yeah, he's going to save one of them.
That was a bait. Oh no, Frost.
I mean, Frost is just chilling here. They scanned him out. They knew exactly where he was. He pops a BKB.
Oh,
That's not
no.
going to do anything. And that's Frost gone dead outside of the base on his own.
Oh.
It's Pavaga.
And that should be Roche if they walk towards it now.
They can't take it that quick, though, can they?
They got a medallion on anyone?
I don't think so. I don't think the Night Stalker's got one.
No.
And they go on mid, Chessie. Forced to BKB. Valentimos.
I forget tier 3's dead,
quite
I
a
guess.
punch.
Yeah, you just walk into the base. That's cool.
Yeah, they'll take this instead with the Terrorblade being dead. It's Pavaga. I mean, they're hitting the timings.
Yeah.
This, I mean, Lifestealer so far ahead. Palantima 16k net worth.
Hey, I'm just saying, you know, not to toot my own horn, but start of this season, I made a list of like 8 players that I thought could break out this year. Palantimos has been on that list for like 2
Oh, was he?
2 years.
Where have we seen this guy? He was on the old Vega squadron, right?
He was on the old Romanian stack with Weeha, and Weeha like made it, right? He ended up joining, like he followed Misery for a while.
What was the name of that Romanian team? Was it wasn't the Balkan Bears, was it?
I think it might have been.
I think it was the Balkan Bears. The Balkan Bears Corleone or something. That was Weeha's old team, wasn't it?
I don't remember, but we used to scrim them all the time. Palantimos was like one of the guys that invented this brood. And I always, whenever people can play a variety of different difficult heroes, I feel like they're going to have more potential than people that have mastered, you know, the BSJs, right? The Lifestealer, the Jug, the PL. Like, these are easy mode. But you give me a guy that can play Brood, Morph, Huskar, and all those carries, you know, you might have something special.
We'll see down mid again. Pavaga grouping up and ready to put pressure onto TFT as they do push the lane down. They're still hovering around the pit, yet to head in.
Yeah, I like their decision though. If you can get the racks first, that's always preferred because it means that it's going to be easier for you to just push lanes. And yeah, he might force his BKB here.
Palantimos,
never mind.
Going in, just sort of playing around with Chessie, showing no fear at all on this Lifestealer, and indeed he shouldn't.
I like that, but see, just it might look like it didn't accomplish much, but it forces the rest of TFT to collapse back around DK. You get good information, and it's not like you're wasting any time as this Lifestealer, but uh-oh.
So they can get any sort of catch. They're trying to, but TFT this time will be able to back out in time. Well, ooh, I say that. Chessie, he's still out of here. They've got the disruption. They're going to lead in. He's forced to put the BKB. They'll take that. BKB forced in the same time. Pikachu up top with the help of Cheshire Cat. They catch out Handskin, trying to split push the lanes.
Really just excellent job by Pavaga. They are playing this game excellently because they know Lifestealer, especially with Shadow Demon behind him, he is not going to die. No. So they force Chessie's BKB, and that lulls Hanskin into a false sense of security. Like, he sees all these heroes mid. Oh, okay, like I can shove this lane. Nope. There's a Timber and now a Night Stalker that's looped around on you. And then this is the mark of a solid team. You know, if you can hunt in 2 different places at once. It's good, really good. And they're only 4K ahead still, of course, but they have such a big momentum advantage at the moment. I don't think that there's anything TFT can pick up that's really going to change the status quo for quite some time.
They've had to go obviously with the sort of defensive build and the Terrorblade with Frost having the BKB and Manta style to deal with Pavaga. I mean, you're always sort of pressured into those, at least the BKB very early on when you're playing against a core Night Stalker. Like the silence of this hero just getting on top of you when you're like a Terrorblade or a Morphling. BKB is the only answer. That's the only thing that's going to save you.
And, you know, watching this game, I can't help but feel like, I know I've talked up the support profit, but watching this game, I realize that I'm like, why don't I like it too much? It's because it's the 4 position. When you watch OG utilize this hero,
they do it as a 5.
EG utilize this hero, Misery and Chaos, like it's always the 5. And I think that just makes the most sense because 5 positions usually have a hard time like manufacturing gold, right? You have to buy all the wards too. Prophet never has that issue because you just farm so much naturally by shoving
go to a wave,
Yeah, you're also most efficient warder. You have a method of checking high grounds to increase the efficiency of your dewarding. But more importantly, like I just feel like he has too much net worth. Like I'd much rather have this Shadow Demon with 6k net worth than the Furion with near 10, right? It just feels like the game impact is going to be higher. And he's taken a lot of the CS on the map away from his 3 cores that really all just need more items.
Yeah, I mean, there's sort of this sort of middle ground where you've got the Sven, Zibe, and Chessie's DK at 12k. They're just falling far behind both Pikachu and Palantimos. So Lifestealer and Timbersaw are having very good games so far. And top lane again, Hansken is being chased down. He'll try for the TP out. Can J4 get there in time for the disruption? Yes, he can. As they will catch and kill Hansken quite quickly after he's only just got back on the map.
And there's the Lotus picked up on Timber now, so he has 2 methods of cleansing. He can Greaves off the Spirit Vessel, and Lotus teammates perhaps even. They're potentially getting sundered. An AC on Palamatius, man. I love the item build too. This is a huge life stealer. He has no worries right now. Aegis is active.
And after a tough lane as well. It was the first 5 minutes it was a slow start for Palantimos because of the pressure that TFT were able to put on him with the Nature's Prophet Sven. But fully recovered and miles ahead of the opponents now. It's Pavaga into the base. Cheshire Cat as well with his build. He's ready to punch. He's got his Maelstrom on the Night Stalker. So we can quickly get those waves pushed in, have that extra bit of magical damage against these heroes with all the physical resistance, the Sven and the DK. It's tier 3 taken, onto a second lane of Rax. Up in the rage, bit of a poke onto Chessie.
He's killing himself. He's full health all of a sudden. Baiting spells. I love the way Palamatius is playing. You can see the rest of the squad balancing the movements around him. He's pushing the envelope at all times, but never stepping out so far that he's isolated.
Quick Manta to remove the open wounds, but TFT struggling to do anything in terms of getting Pavaga off these racks. The racks are just going down in front of them.
You can't get to the back line, and you can't target the Timber or the Lifestealer. They're way too fat.
I mean, they just seem they can't do anything. Yeah. They're losing racks whilst they've got the full 5-man up, and they're just walking in and walking out. They seem pretty helpless at the moment, TFT.
Yep.
They do absolutely nothing as Pavaga just take the full set of racks from underneath their noses. And if they can't do anything now, what are they going to do later down the line? They're only getting further behind.
And I like this. There's a bots on Timbersaw. So how do you deal with the Prophets, Harass, and Rat? You just buy this double boot strat, and all of a sudden, you can now kill this wave. The rest of your team can just beeline. As you can see, they're drawing lines. If we cut mid wave and cut bottom wave, who gives a damn about top? The racks is secured. All we have to do is kind of huddle around this area, wait a minute for our creep equilibrium to get here, and then we're good to go.
Hansken is going to continue to be quite a nuisance though in that situation, as he is there after the Timber leaves the lane.
Yep. But they've already cut the wave. They got plenty of time. Oh, wow, he found him.
Yeah, they're going to hunt for him. He's going to go for the TP out, but they've got the stun ready. Hansken in trouble as Pikachu's packed to the lane, can offer the damage required to kill the Prophet. And now Pavaga can get back round to pushing this bottom lane all the way around to that tier 2 and look to proceed towards claiming mega creeps. As this game, I mean, TFT, it just... I mean, what do they do in this situation? It just seems like there's no place for them to achieve.
There really isn't much, honestly, OD. And respect, you know, stick in it. There's always a chance, but the new way of Dota, when all your people are drafting all these tanky cores, games are becoming more and more difficult to throw, right? Because the tankier your heroes, it's like the heavier your game is, okay? And it gets to a point where it's so heavy that only the strongest throwers have the ability to actually, you know, chuck that rock.
Yeah. That's everything just going the way of Pavaga right now. It's Palantimos, this lifesteal. I mean, it's you know, they've
Ooh, nice blink by J4.
Oh, they are actually going to get into the back lines, but it's straight away the disruption from J4 keeps the Earth Spirit safe. BKBs are being popped hit by TFT. They're trying to fight Palantimos, but he's just taking hardly any damage at all. The BKBs are going to wear off, and TFT, they've got to be careful if they want to really try and continue to take this fight, as it just seems like they might not be able to. Zibe gets turned upon. Cheshire Cat's being focused by Chessie in an attempt to kill him off, but they've lost the Sven. They've lost Era on the Oracle. Era has to buy back. Now Frost will pop his BKB, but Chessie dead for a minute without buyback. The BKB wears off on Frost. They just can't touch Pavaga's lineup. Nobody dying on Pavaga, as the Terrorblade will manage to get a Sunder off. He is in the base, continuing to be dove upon by Pikachu, Palantimos, and LOL. Will burst as the false promise from Era is not enough to save him. Buys back immediately, but this game just continuing to be a train wreck now for TFT. Yep. As it's, I mean, what is it, the drafts, is it the items? It just seems like they just absolutely can't do anything against this lineup of Pavaga at this point.
It's the 10th pick Timber, really. Pavaga have the win conditions. That means the game stays even long enough. Eventually they'll win a fight and take the game, because there's no real way for TFT to combat this enemy side. And as soon as J4 got the blink away on Zibe's initiation, that fight was over. You could see he immediately then disrupts the other support of the Earth Spirit. Okay, that's it. Your initiation is bunk. And we've got a huge advantage. Like, that's it,
Yeah.
GG.
Absolutely, Mega Creeps have been claimed. Zibber's going to try for one final jump in and a lead in. BKB's pop, but it's going to have to be a BKB and run. He's going to get sprouted by his own teammate. Zibbe stuck for now. Now they put the BKBs. They really want this Timber. So this is what, 3 cores hitting down onto him. They cannot do anything at all about Pikachu as TFT being forced back to the fountain. GG well played is called, and Pavaga take game 1. Quite a convincing performance indeed. Palantimos having the time of his life on the Lifestealer. Pikachu's Timbersaw as well, as you mentioned. Perfect in the draft and in the play as he continues to have what the second great game from him. He had a fantastic game in the first best of 1 series that they